thank you everyone for coming. And yeah, I wanted to make this presentation a bit to highlight the problem of what we were trying to solve with Umia and what is in general the opportunity that we are seeing as a platform, and also outline a bit how it works. I see it as a very unique. Oh, I got a notification. I see it as a pretty unique way of creating more utility on our blockchains and EVM chains. So let's start a bit with how the world is changing, which I think is the most interesting part. And everyone in this room, if not 90% of the people, experienced it. Is the builder now can build software, can build MVPs and ideas in a completely different ways than literally 6 months ago. And this is because of AI agent, this is because of AI getting better. And we need, as infrastructure provider with Umia and Chainbound, we need to see what are the second order effects. And the second order effects of all of this is that, yes, you can build a software, yes, you can build an MVP that works, you can find a few friends that try it, but when you want to make it into a company, things still look very different and very rudimental. Hence, the few options that you have is either you go to a VC to find funding, or you bootstrap, or whatever. But the reality is, and that's the cool part, I think, for everyone, again, in our industry, is that we believe that tokens are actually the best way for capital formation, for agentic ventures, for ventures that are built with these new workflows. And why I believe that is for many different reasons. The first one is that tokens are inherently a programmable framework for the founder, for the team to give ownership to people. And it's much more programmable than equity, obviously, and it's much more programmable than a crowdfunding where you pre-sale your products. Tokens are also global, permissionless in their way of access, meaning like anyone really can have access to your token, and that broadens up your opportunity of raising capital, of getting a customer base, of incentivizing people to an extent that probably nothing else can. And then obviously they allow for composable governance and coordination, which we're going to look at it later, what we built for that, but the TLDR is, yeah, now you can use governance not as a limit to you, but actually an opportunity to engage with your community much more. And then there are, again, third order effects, which is you have, with tokens being the ownership framework of your product, you have a transparent treasury management solution, because now the treasury is on chain. And yeah, that's, I'd say, the biggest qualities that we've seen. So the big thing is, look at it in a way where Umia really wants to be the platform in which the founders, the builders of the future, look at tokens as a real solution for ownership of their project, capital raising, building, and moving from an MVP, an idea, into something that obviously requires more resources, so the capital raise and the management of contracts, the management of becoming a service company, to then evolve into anything they want it to be. They can migrate out of Umia whenever they want. They can make it into a normal business, a non-token business, or they can make it into a standalone token without the support of Umia. And that's what we are. But if you look at the options that are outside today, and that's why with Umia we started building this, is because we were like, okay, like if I really believe that launching a token for my project is a good idea, what are the options they have? And they're not great. The options, we outlined a few. The first one is you have meme coin Launchpads, ICO crowdfunding solution, or curated Launchpads. I wouldn't suggest any of the three to any of you. And on top, like when we wanted to actually launch something, we were like, okay, I have an idea. I think there is value accrual to the token with this idea. And I think I want to launch the token to raise some funds to do the initial investments. But I couldn't find anything that really provided me the right type of solution. It was nothing that was full stack. And so we're building Umia. Umia then is the on-chain venture creation layer, which we hope with this one-liner encompasses everything that Umia really is. And the cool thing also is we define it as the operating system for internet native ventures. Yeah. So what are the components now that make Umia? Let's start with the first one. The first one could be looked as the most boring one, but actually is one of the most innovative ones, which is the legal framework that Umia uses. We partner with MetaLex, which is, in my opinion, one of the leading law firms in terms of innovation and new developments of legal framework for crypto-related companies, into building this setup in which you can actually have a legal token wrapper to your token, which your investor have real value accrual certainty when they hold the token, which, again, we've seen how alt tokens have been performing. They're not been doing great. But why? Because the reality is there has not been a framework for these founders and on top for the investors to really price them, because you don't know where value accrual is going to go. You don't know if this is a vibe token, like, oh, I am aligned with this token, but do I ever going to get any value out of it? With this legal framework, instead you have a legal wrapper that says, okay, you have this token, you hold this token, and you have a very high certainty that whatever value accrual comes from this product is going to go to the token. Then you have the treasury management. We built the whole treasury logic on chain. That is a non-custodial treasury. What does it mean? It just means that when you finish up the crowdfunding through Umia, the fundraising through Umia, the assets get deposited in a smart contract that is managed by a rule-governed framework by decision markets. And I'll show you later how it works, the decision market, and again, it's pretty cool. And then you have the governance part, which is decision market, I just said. And finally, the fundraising part, which is probably the first point of action of most of the project, is you have an idea, you need to raise some money, and you want it to give ownership to your community and not a VC that could change their mind or who are really, they have different, they're not as aligned probably as your community and your consumers. And here instead, we provide you a framework where you say, okay, I can permissionless give access to the people that I want to the token at given prices, and on top, give access to anyone that later on wants to own it. So yeah, these are the 4 big pillars: the legal enforceability the legal framework, the treasury, the governance framework with decision markets, and the fundraising logic. So you're a venture, you want to launch. What's the path? You build it, then you apply. If you get selected, you get funded through the mechanism. What does it mean is you open up a fundraising that could last 7 days or however we decide, and with that you get sort of funded with. We say you sell between 30 and 50% of your token supply to the community. So why we say that is because we want the community to truly own and govern part of the token ownership. And then you grow. And for grow, it's just one box, but grow means a lot because you could grow inside of Umia. You could say, well, I did my 6 months at Umia, things went well, the token grew, and the project actually has monthly active users of more than 1,000. I want to move out, or I'm getting buyout. And if you get buyout, there is a process for that. You want to move out, there's a process for that. You want to liquidate because the idea is not working, you can do that, which again is great. Is actually a value prop that we provide, because you could just run a decision market in which you say I want to liquidate, and everyone gets pro rata the value of the treasury that still stands there. So that's high level, the value that we provide. Okay, let's go into the details. The tailored auction. So this is the Launchpad components of Umia. Is a component, is a logic, oh, I don't see anything. Is a component that has a few unique properties. The first one is fully built on Uniswap CCA, continuous clearing auction mechanism from Uniswap. But we built a few uniqueness into it. The first one is we allow for permissioning the access to your auction at different periods. But why we do it? Not just because it's cool, but rather because speaking with founders, they're like, well, I want to give ownership, or I want to give a preference to a certain type of users because, an example, I'm launching an AI token for people to streamline the workflow of people that like use Claude extensively. So you could say, well, I'm going to set up a zkTLS proof, meaning like you need to provide a proof that you use more than 1 million Claude token in the last day. And if you have that proof, you get unlocked one of the first buckets. And so inherently, we built a way for price discrimination between category of users, which is one of the biggest optimizations in our idea of giving ownership and inherently run capital formation in our on-chain. The other thing is CCA has a very unique framework in which you give preference to people that start earlier, that bid earlier, but on top, the clearing price at which the auction closes has been proven to be one of the most inherently correct compared to many other auction mechanisms. What does this mean? It just means that many times there were fundraisers on chain and the price of the token was just completely off. Why? Because the mechanism through which people could bid and so on just inherently shoot up the price and then it was just downhill. Instead here, we have something that makes it organic, something that makes it so you can give a substantial amount of your token out and not get screwed by an absurd price at the start and then only bad news for the next years. So yeah, that's the logic. That's actually a screenshot of how it will look. And yeah. Then we have the second part, the second component of Umia, which is governance. As we said at the start, we're solving for the agentic founder, the solopreneurs, the people that want to move fast and so on. Okay, you're raising fast, you're moving fast. The problem is the investor, if you want to raise a substantial amount of money, needs to have different type of assurances. You cannot raise in 7 days, you cannot have 10 fundraisers in 10 fundraisers in a week and expect that all 10 are going to be going all well and so on. You need more assurances into that. And the assurance that we bring is the non-custodiality of the raised assets. So the raised assets go in this treasury, and the treasury has a monthly disbursement. We're going to see later, but anyway, a monthly disbursement that go to the team, but every type of other decision is managed by decision markets. What does it mean? Is every decision opens up a conditional market, and here you can see a conditional market in which you say, which chain should we deploy on next? So which should we invest millions of dollars to make the deployment? Base, Solana, or we shouldn't? And you can, and this framework that we built allows you to price the token of the protocol relative to that decision. So you can say, well, if the protocol launches on Base, the token is worth 0.37. If it launches on Solana, it's worth 0.31. So there is a premium of 15%, 20%, if it launches there. So the community should take so the protocol will take the decision, mainly driven by market direction rather than vibes or rather than just a few people. And you can see here that why this framework allows for maximization of token welfare. Because the token holders, the market participant, will not trade for something that goes against their will, obviously. So that is the pretty strong value prop that comes out of this governance framework. And what's the other value prop is that people are much more incentivized. Like you could not have a hold of any of these tokens, but you see that the decision of trading on Base is underpriced. Well, you can buy it and make some money. So everyone, even people that don't have token, are incentivized to participate, to engage, to build a community, and yeah, to make a new point of contact for the protocol. This is the treasury setup that I said that I mentioned it before. Mainly, the auction proceed, go into a treasury, then there is automatic monthly disbursement for the operational development. So let's say you raise $1 million, you want to have $1.2 million, and you want to have 100K of, you want to have a year of runway, and you want to spend 100K to do the development. Pretty absurd, but okay. With this sort of parameters, you're going to have every month an automatic disbursement of 100K to the management, to the people running the company, and then any other type of decision from the treasury needs to go through the decision market. So again, here you see how there is full control for the operational management from the from the managers, and full treasury management and board level decision management from the token holders. Again, pretty, I think, unique. And what really can you decide on is investment on treasury, is parameter changes on treasury, dissolution of treasury, so you want to close, buyout, and mint and burn of the token. The tokens launched on Umia will have a non-fixed supply. The supply is fully managed by decision markets. What does it mean is you have an investor that come in and says, well, your project makes sense, I want to invest, but you already had a deployed token. Before it would be very tough, but now instead you say, okay, we make a decision market, we issue 100 more tokens for $100, token is trading at one, and with that and if the yes passes, with that you have the supply increasing of the token, you have more treasury, and you have a very dynamic way of again, managing your finances as a project. Yeah, the legal enforceability, we mentioned it before, but what are the real benefit is that there is no setup cost, because this is a setup in which it's just a legal wrapper that is built on the framework of Umia, that is a SPC framework, a segregated portfolio company framework that we built. You have a segregated balance sheet. It means like legally, like your assets are yours and your liability are yours. So good luck. And the board decisions of every token that have this legal wrapper are delegated to decision markets. So there is no board, there is no VC on the board, there is just everything is actually decided by the markets. And here we made a cool comparison is what we aim, what's our vision, what we hope to get to is we want to make ventures creation a programmable sort of framework. As Ethereum made money programmable, AWS made the infrastructure programmable, Stripe made the payments programmable, we believe that with this paradigm shift that's happening with AI, with agentic workflows and so on, there is really this opportunity to make ventures set up, venture management, venture creation, fully programmable. And yeah, and again, the tokens are a tool to get there. And we hope it works. For builders, here we outline a bit of because in this room I think most of you are builders, we outline a bit of the benefits that come out of being here. The first one is, as I said, you launch faster with on-chain native formation. What does it mean? It means also that, yeah, you've seen the insurances that investors get are much better than what you get otherwise. The access of investor pool is much larger because now you don't need to do a roadshow between 10 VCs, but rather you will be supported by us on one side, but on the other side, you have access to anyone, everywhere, to potentially bid for your token. You have now the ability to leverage your community. Like it's not anymore that, oh, there is a DAO proposal that's like a burden. No, here, every DAO proposal, if it makes sense, and so on, is actually a huge opportunity to resonate the message of your business and to have engagement by people and so on. Like a stupid example I always make is, you make the proposal I made before and someone says, you know what, like the base deployment is actually underpriced and I can make money out of it. So the guy opens up his position on token trading condition on a base deployment, and then he writes an X article explaining why, and then he also goes to talks and explain why, and at that point you have literally a delegated comms person that exists just because he wants to prove and just because he has exposure to a conditional future of your own company, which is very unique and very powerful. The other few things is obviously you have transparency governance, and then you have a new legal framework that we hope is going to become the standard for token in the future. Yeah. For the ecosystems in general, what happens now? Like, let's think of a world where you mostly have this type of tokens. Well, it's pretty cool because you have, first of all, a clear framework to assess where the value is going. You have a token, you have a protocol, the protocol is making $1 million of revenue. Where is this revenue going? To the foundation, to the founder? No, here you know it that if this framework is used, it goes to token holders through burns, through buybacks, through disbursement, whatever setup is decided by the decision markets themselves. For participants also, is the ability now to have access to ventures and to companies that before they didn't. We've seen it with AI. Most of the upside came from private companies, and apart from like wrapper of SPCs, no SPVs, sorry. There's no real access to retail, and here instead we give real access from day one to communities and people that really worth it. And we've saw it with ZKTLS, we can give even more preference to the people that you really want on board from day one. So yeah, that is high level why you should be interested. Then what's the future we hope to see with this? The future is a future, obviously, of internet native company, now AI native, of companies that use tokenization not because it's cool. I don't want to say, I want to build something just because it's cool to have a token. No, because tokenization in this case actually brings you more than not. So that is the rational gap that we're trying to fill with Umia. That organizations that are community capitalized, like the cap table is owned by the community and truly, and in a way that is permissionless. That is market governed. So yeah, you've seen it. The governance frameworks and all that stuff is pretty economically driven rather than vibe driven or just dreams driven, like many DAO proposals sometimes come out of. And then obviously programmatic coordinated. This is just the start. Umia will launch in around 2 months. And we want the fact that it's modular, it's programmatic, to continuously improve, to continuously have more to bring, and that's a feature that we hope to build with all of you builders. So we built a cool tool. This is more of a game. It's Umia Score. We launched it 3 days ago, and the idea here is you have the sort of chance to score your ideas. Is part of the Umia platform where you can put your repo, you can put your X account, you can put your thesis, and this logic evaluates the potential it has, which stage of development it could be, and also a fictional TPV, tokenization potential value. It's pretty cool. We launched it 4 days ago. We already had 200 submissions. And yeah, give it a look. It's funny. And then we have a community that we're building. You don't build a marketplace without a community. You don't build, for sure, on-chain venture creation platform by yourself. So it would be cool to have you all in our community, to give your opinion here, to be as opinionated as possible. This needs to be built together. Again, because we need to cater to the needs of the builders rather than trying to force something, because otherwise then people don't use it. So give it a join, discuss, and if you have anything to talk about, let's talk there. And that's it.